first question to you. It is beautiful when we agree with the change, and if it's nice, we think like, yeah, it's a great change. But sometimes in our heart, we disagree with the change. Probably most of you know what I'm thinking, yeah? That there is a change and we think like, I need to go to my people, I need to communicate, I need to encourage them to be part of this change, but I don't believe in this change. What would you recommend us, like, to be a face of the change that we don't believe in?
Thank you, Sylwia. Yeah, of course. So it's happening quite often to us. I'm sure many of you in the room already, that we were faced with a change that first time we don't see the need for, we don't accept, and we deny. And we are actually going through that curve, that 7 stages curve, from denial to shock to frustration to depression. And then little by little we go up the curve, and that's happening many times to us. It happened to me when I came to Warsaw 2 years back. I was offered to come to Warsaw and say, why do I come to Warsaw? Why am I asked to do that? And finally I went up the curve. So I think this curve is totally natural. And I think we as leaders have 2 things in our hands to go through that curve very, very nicely. First of all is that quite often that experience we have had already in the past. So we can leverage our learning from the past, how to go through that curve fast. And the second is that we are supposed to be agile. We are in our jobs because we are agile. And I think Agnieszka, you was mentioning yesterday agility of people. We are leaders, must be agile. So we have all the equipment in our skill set to go through the various stages very fast. And the second thing I would like to say about it is not only about being convinced of the change. I think yesterday Simon was very clear what it means to be convinced and why do we need to be convinced, the just cause, the authentic leadership, the inspirational leadership. So I'm not going to go through that again. But I want to point to another aspect of it, which is to ask ourselves if we are convinced to be the right leader for the change. It's not only about being convinced that the change is needed, it's also being convinced that we are the right leader for implementing the change. And there is no harm, there is no pain, there is no shame to acknowledge to not be the right leader. And I want to give you a very recent example which for me was totally inspirational. For those of you who likes football, you probably saw Real Madrid winning Liverpool 10 days back. And Zinedine Zidane, the trainer of Real Madrid, was a superstar. And he won the Champions League for 3 years in a row. And 3 days later, or 4 days later, there was a press conference, and Zinedine Zidane said, you know, I think the team needs a change. I think the team needs another message. I think the team needs to be rebuilt. I think the team needs another strategy, another team play, and I feel I'm not the right trainer for that, so I quit. And I feel that is a very powerful message for us as well, especially back to what Simon said about infinite game, to be able to leave the place when it is timely.
Absolutely, I think it's really great to be honest with yourself, yeah? Like, am I the right person for this change, yeah? I may be the right leader for this team, but am I the right leader for this moment in the life of this team? I think it's really inspiring. And I think it's also connected with this, Agnieszka, what you say about not being super positive, because this is what I face as a super nanny for leaders, that sometimes people come to me and say like, hey, I don't agree with the change. How should I say it to people? Can I go to the dark side and say, yeah, it's bad, I disagree, you know, I know what you feel.
It's
or should I go to the light side?
It's not my fault,
yeah.
It's someone else.
Yeah, or should I go to the light side and say like, yeah, it's great, what a wonderful opportunity. You know what I mean? This is what sometimes is expected from you. And I also don't think it's great. I think you need to find your own, sorry for saying this, 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, you need to find the communication that you feel okay. For example, I also got my questions and hesitations, but I'm willing to try. And this is what I ask you to do, yeah? You don't have to say, yeah, I love it, or you don't have to say, yeah, I hate it. It's okay to say, I also got my questions and hesitations, but I'm ready to try. And I think this is honest enough. Perfect. Okay, Piotr, question to you. This is what we struggle in changes is people versus numbers. This is what Simon was talking yesterday about. So sometimes it's like this, that we know that there is change coming and we know it may impact people a lot. And sometimes we face this kind of, I would say, ethical question. So for example, should I say the whole truth to the people and risk the business because they make and leave, yeah? Or should I protect my people, tell them the whole truth, but then risk a business? Or risk people, risk business, protect people, protect business. You know what to choose?
just like Simon said yesterday, being honest is very simple. You just have to say the truth. So
It is risky. People may leave.
they can always leave. This is normal situation. You cannot take them in the place where they're working, so they can always change something.
But if you tell them like, hey, probably in 2 months we don't have such a great position for you, they may leave. Come on.
Yes, they can, but always. We have this situation at the Billennium 6 years ago. We have something around 90% on board. Right now we have more than 700 in 6 years. So the change is not the moment in the time, but is constant. And the transparency is the most important value in team building, especially in agile team. The best team have something around 7 up to 9% because there is the size of the team where everyone know everything about team members, about the task, about the project, and transparency is very important there. 2 years ago, we have a tough situation in product department because we take decision that we rebuild the team, focus on the particular product, projects, and customers. So we have to reduce the team up to 20%. It's a lot of the people, yeah? It's a big numbers. So we decide to prepare a very well strategy about this change, a very well communication plan, and start the change from the beginning, telling the truth to the people. And
You were brave, huh?
maybe yes, but for us it was very important because people in the team was involved in the change. Of course, we are in very lucky situation because we are in IT, yeah. So we don't have to lost these people outside the company. We can move them to the another services where they have the billable jobs. So, but it was still very tough for the people because it was the team. They were working together. There was emotion and so on, so on. So we start communicating the changes from the true, and after this after this change, we have 3 months to make the changes, and after this change, team was reduced. But since this time, up more than 2 years from now, we lost only 2% in this team, and
So they appreciate your honesty.
Yes. Especially this was team building, really team building, because they understand and believe that Billennium take care about the person inside the team, not only the numbers in the project and products.
Yeah.
Piotr, sorry, may I
it's great.
disagree with Piotr at that point?
Yeah, okay.
A little bit. Lucky you with the project, I would say, but I don't really believe that we have to choose. Because for me, not telling the whole truth doesn't mean lying. And the question is always, what does it mean, the whole truth? What I've experienced that there is a right moment for telling the truth for every person. And not because of protecting the numbers, but because of protecting the person. There's no many value in telling people in advance that they are going, for example, to lose a job, if you believe that they can stay, earn additional money, and you are ready to help them to find a good position. So they can be even more beneficial in that approach and really reduce the stress level they have. And the second element of telling the whole truth is what I saw working with the customer, that in many cases, so-called truth was actually about the manager's fears, assumptions, conclusions, whatever, a lot of emotions with something that is actually not decided yet or may be changed during the whole process. And you need to be very cautious. We need to be very cautious not to spread the sense of fear among your employees, because it doesn't help neither people nor the numbers.
Yeah, I think in this case I have to agree with you. This is, for me, the matter of time. What is official communication, what is decided, what's not. This is also the case we struggle sometimes. We've got the knowledge, and our people ask us, hey, can you share this knowledge with me? But we are the only one who's got this knowledge. And sometimes people ask me, okay, so what should I tell to my people when they ask me what's going on? Because I know that you know. And my advice is, I always say people, there is no official communication in this matter. There is no official communication in this matter, so me telling you would be spreading gossips. And people say, yeah, it's really good. And I said, yeah, because before there is no official communication, everything can change. Exactly. And it happens that leaders, managers share some knowledge they've got but it was still not official. And then it changed, and people were mad at them, like, hey, you told me something what was not true. Yeah, so we also need to be very careful about it. Okay, we are out of time, but there is one question I really want to ask to you, Agnieszka, because we all like successful story, yeah? Beautiful stories, it's all beautiful, they live long after ever and things like this. But I want to hear about failure. Like, I know that you face a lot of changes with your clients. Yeah. Can you share with us the most bloody case, like really failure that we should take the lesson?
Maybe not one, I don't have one particular in my mind, but it happens quite frequently, especially in Poland, that managers are forced very often by their headquarters to focus mainly on positive, very positive and over positive communication to people about the change. And maybe due to the political legacy of communism or any others that we have in our country, Poles are going to be a little bit suspicious when they hear too much positive communication or they see that the negative communication is suppressed. And it happens over and over again that those who started with a very positive message failed within the process because employees said, okay, I don't trust you, it's unbelievable for me. Or you simply underappreciate the effort I need to put to succeed with this change. This is another element. And the second element, which I would like to emphasize at that moment, is over-promising. Because especially if you invite people to the transformation that is going to be difficult for them from different reasons. It needs effort, needs time, needs their skilling, okay, going out of comfort zone, whatever. It's the natural tendency of managers to promise something people to reward them for the effort, and reward them for the effort. And they promise, okay, in the next few months, everything will be perfect. We'll be growing, we'll be the number one, your work will be very interesting and inspiring and position secured. And you can never say that because you never know what will happen. And I saw many times that in the next few months, the next really bad news may come.
Yeah, I agree with you. Remember, expectation creates disappointment. So if your employee is facing disappointment, probably because somebody made a fake hope. And the second advice I can also give you, if you want to get rid of the good employee, it's promise more, give less. Yeah. So this is if you really want to demotivate someone, just promise more, give less. Then for sure this person will quit. So that's the thing. So this not nice sound means that we are out of time. I'm terribly sorry because I would love to talk to you a bit more. The good news is that we're gonna have later a break. So if you want to talk to us about the change and just get some more inspiration, we would be more than happy to talk to you about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylwia.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.